looking back. It's funny, like, when I struggled 4 times to break 2:55, like, nobody would have thought that I would have ended up with, like, at 2:41.
Are you running a marathon? Oh, I could never run a marathon. Are you sure about that? A marathon? That's like 42 kilometers, 26 miles. I don't understand most people. That used to be me. But not anymore. Welcome to the Marathon Podcast. My name is Kristian Warwick. Warwick runs on Instagram, YouTube. Really happy to have you here in what is the Boston Marathon, or the week of the Boston Marathon weekend. It's not the week of the Boston Marathon, because that's in 1 week from this day, this podcast episode coming out. But I am so excited. I'm so excited about this shakeout that we're doing with the Indie Boys. You will get a free hat if you're among the 51st people to show up. You'll get free coffee. Doesn't matter what kind of coffee you want. If you want a latte, go for it. Macchiato, go for it. Americano, whatever you want. From Tate Bakery and Cafe, paid for by the Marathon Podcast. There will also be some other giveaways from the Marathon Podcast. And most importantly, maybe, we are sponsored by Never Second on this one. And I just can't believe they wanted to support us with this. So there will be giveaways and some swag from them. And also big shout out to Rob, Mark, and Brendan for joining me in hosting this. Something that was just confirmed like 2 minutes before I jumped on, or 2 minutes before recording this, was that we'll have a photographer and a videographer with us. That's going to be great. That means that you guys will get photos afterwards that you can share. And yeah, trying to be all about the community here. And so super excited to have AC and Greg on board to help us document the shakeout. I am so happy to announce that Polly Cunes is the guest today. I can't wait for you guys to hear this episode. She's an amazing runner, human being, and just very, very impressive. And I love talking to someone from Calgary. I spent a month in Calgary as a speed skater at some point. And yeah, I love that city, love that place, and love Canada. Okay, in this episode, we are talking about obviously her journey, how she got to where she is, how she got to her 2:41 marathon. She's currently coached by Jeff Cunningham, friend of the pod. And yeah, we also touch on, or we talk quite a lot about Boston, what to think about, how to prepare in terms of fueling strategy, and yeah, what her thoughts are on Boston Marathon 2026, where she's actually a part of the pro field. As usual, I will update you guys on my own running after the chat with Polly. And yeah, I can reveal that I was running in Solomon today. Their Phantasm 3 fast shoes, and I did 32K. I'm going to tell you more about that after this chat. Polly, welcome to the Marathon Podcast, and good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We briefly chatted before we started recording, and it's 7 a.m. in Calgary now, right?
Yeah, it
Mhm.
is. Just
Yeah.
getting the day going here.
So you just woke up, and I just finished my long run.
Yeah, we're definitely different time zones. I'm
Yeah.
on break though right now. I'm on spring break, so I kind
Okay.
of have a little bit
Nice.
of time, which is great.
Nice. A lot of cool things happening for you these days, and especially now with Boston coming up. How are you feeling about everything?
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm like a mix of emotions, I would say, going into Boston. There has been a lot going on. I'm like, I don't think I've been more excited to line up for a race ever. So that's definitely probably the dominant emotion right now. It's just excitement to be there and have the experience, I guess.
Hmm. You know, I've been following you for a long time, and I think it's really cool to see the things you're doing. And I also like, especially lately, I've been seeing. I don't know if it's just been that it's popped up more, or if it's just something you started doing more. But like, uh, more of the heat and more of the altitude. Like, at least that's been more on my social media. It could be the algorithm or something like that. Uh, there's like, now heading into Boston, we're obviously going to talk about like your journey to Boston and all of that. Uh, but are you making a lot of adjustments now? Because we're per definition in the taper, two
Yeah,
week taper kind of.
yeah.
in terms of those things like heat training or altitude, are you making changes there, or is that something that you still kind of keep going all the way up until the race?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've made a ton of changes in this build. Like, a huge part of this build has just been, like, I when I'm doing a spring build, I'm very much confined to what I can do within, like, my work and parenting life.
Hmm.
So, the build itself was, like, a lot of treadmill, a lot of early mornings, a lot of just squeezing things in between kid activities, and I would say, like, my mileage went up. This is probably the highest, yeah, it is for sure the highest mileage marathon build I've had, like, for a spring marathon. Um, so I've been working hard, but, it definitely, like, I don't think I think I found the edge this build. I don't think I could do more,
Yeah.
while juggling life. I did add altitude training in, and that just kinda happened, organically a little bit. My boyfriend's a cyclist, and he had done some altitude sessions, and he bought me altitude sessions for my birthday, and I'd, like, never considered it. I didn't even really know about this altitude chamber in Calgary, and so I did a couple sessions, um, and then got in touch with, the owner of the
Mm.
shop and he threw me a few extras, and so I did 3 sessions at the start of January. Like, I'd just been coming off being sick and, like, having a bit of a lull in my training, and I found those 3 or 4, I can't remember, but I found those sessions just kinda gave me a little boost
Hmm.
just, like, at the start of my build. Like, I felt like I stepped into workouts feeling like, "Oh, I'm a little bit more fit than I thought I would have been, like, at this stage." And then the exercise physiologist there recommended I do, 3 or 4 more toward the end, so that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I've done 2 altitude sessions this week, and I have 1 more on Saturday and 1 more on Monday, and, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, I felt like they helped, but you never know how much of that is, like, um, yeah, like, real, or, like, I have no scientific, no one's
No.
hooked me up to anything to verify that I'm getting anything from it, but I feel like it doesn't hurt at all.
Hmm.
So if it's there, I'm going to do it.
But what's interesting about this now that we're talking, and for the ones who are not super familiar with, Calgary location and altitude, for me, for instance, who grew up like just almost sea level, for me going to Calgary, and I remember especially coming home and competing again when I got home, I really got that altitude effect just by being in Calgary, right?
Totally.
And there, although it's not like the highest altitude camp you can go
No.
up to, but like it's still altitude. And so, uh, how do you, or have you throughout this build, when you've been doing the altitude training, have you been down at sea level to kind of see what that feels like now? Because I would assume that you kind
Mm.
of have a benefit when you get to sea level in the first place, and then you
Yeah.
add this, and it must be even more.
Yeah. Yeah. So Calgary, we're at like 1,000 meters. And so I always say we're at like semi elevation. So I do get like a little bit of a benefit just by like living and training here, but it's not like the same as like Flagstaff or,
No.
the places that people go for altitude camp. I, yeah, like, we always, like, all the Calgarians just kind of know, like, when we go to race, at sea level or anywhere, like, close to sea level, we just, like, feel that little boost, and
Hmm.
it's just kind of a perk of living where we are, and I'm just kinda used to that now, and I don't even factor, like, my coach doesn't factor that into my training at all. We just, like, we go, like, we try to hit the paces we wanna hit to hit our goals, and then I always feel like it's just this, like, extra little added bonus on race day. I feel like I get probably, like, maybe 3 or 4 seconds a mile,
Yeah.
um, effort-wise, like, just by having trained in Calgary, and I don't factor it in, but it's just kind of this, like, yeah, like, I'll get to Boston, and I'll go do my shakeout run, and I'll be like, "Ooh, okay, this feels like I have a little extra air."
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
It's a good feeling for sure. So, and I think that a lot of people, or most people, probably haven't tried that, and especially staying in
Mhm.
altitude for a long time. And it's a very, at least for me, who's done it like a few times and felt the effect of it, it's kind of crazy how much even the 1,000 meters in Calgary, like how much that actually affects you when you're not used to being at that altitude normal.
Totally, yeah, I think for people who, like, come here, like, anytime we host, like, high level athletic events, like, the athletes that come here, it's like, "Ooh, okay." It
Hmm.
does, like, it's enough to hit you,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, we
Yeah.
held the Canadian Championships a few times for, like, half marathon and stuff, and yeah, like, I remember speaking to a few of the athletes. It's a factor for sure.
But do you find that because kind of what back to what you were saying about you have Flagstaff and you have other like places where people go to altitude camps, and Calgary might not be one of them, but do you feel like a lot of people are then underestimating Calgary as like and the altitude when going there to compete, and they're like kind of forget about the fact that they will have less oxygen there than they would normally?
For sure, yeah, I think, like, yeah, if you don't really think about it, then you might yeah, it might catch you by surprise a little bit if you come
Yeah.
run the Calgary Marathon. Calgary Marathon's a great race, by the way.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
a good
no, I
one.
should definitely go do that one at some point. Okay, Paul, we've been talking for a few minutes already, and I would love for you to kind of introduce yourself to the listeners who don't really know you. But before you do, whenever I have an episode, I will scroll through the Instagram an extra time of the people that I'm having on. And what's really cool about you is like seeing some of the photos. I think you posted with the Boston 2012, 16, and now was it 2016, was it 17?
2012, 2000 and gosh, it was after 2015.
15, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just always fun to see like you have the times, and obviously like 2012 is starting to be a few years ago, like, and seeing the progression of a runner like that. And you've been in the marathon game for a very long time, from I would say like a good marathon runner from early on, but like now where you're at, it's kind of crazy, and it's very inspiring, especially to me. I'm 33 years old, and I'm trying to kind of, you know, start my marathon journey and be like, oh, how fast can I
Yeah.
actually go? And then we have people like you come showing that okay, it's possible to just keep working and keep improving. And yeah, now I kind of lay the foundation, I guess, for your introduction. But if you could introduce yourself, who you are, but not just as a runner, who you are outside of running.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm 42. I'm a teacher, and I'm a mom of 2. My son is coming 13 here, which is crazy, and my daughter is 9. Um, yeah, so I came into running like I never ran in college or anything like that. I just played sports growing up. I played, badminton was actually my main sport growing up
Oh,
that I played till I was 18. And then kind of when sports finished for me, I just was looking for something else to, channel my competitiveness and crazy and stay fit, and running came organically. Like I'd done like I dabbled in like track and field at school and stuff, but I'd never had any coaching or anything like that. And so yeah, I started running a little bit when I was 18, and then um it eventually spiraled into a half marathon, and then I ran my first marathon when I was, gosh, 24, 25, 2008. And thinking I was just gonna run one marathon, and, yeah, I guess I started training harder once, like, after having kids. So after having kids is kinda when I, hired a coach and, got more serious. But, um, in 2 weeks, I'm lining up in the pro field in Boston, which is total insanity.
oh wow. How like you used the word insanity now, like when you got that message, or like when you were told that you were going to be in the pro field, can you describe that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it came at a time when I needed it. Um, so the way it works is if you wanna run in the pro field, they have, like, qualifying times you have to meet, and then if you've met that qualifying time, then when you go to register at the same time as everyone else, you just, like, click a box that's like, "I'd like to be considered for the pro field," and then you wait until December. And so this December, I'd planned on running Houston half, and I ended up getting sick at the end of November, and it just, like, would not go away. So I spent from, like, the 3rd week of November until mid-January sick, essentially. And so I was kind of just, like, in a bit of a slump. I just pulled the plug on Houston. And, that's when I got the email from Boston, and, it was exactly what I needed, like, reassurance that I was, like, headed down the right road, and honestly, like, when I read it, I just, like, I burst into tears right away and just messaged my coach, like,
Wow.
I think it was, like, I was trying to go to sleep, it was, like, 10:30 PM or something when I got it, and I don't think I slept that night.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel like this is one of the things like that at least I think is super cool about Boston, that it's for everyone. Like you're now describing that feeling of making the elite or the pro field, uh, and for me, I remember when I got my first BQ. Like first of all, you have the BQ,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then you actually qualify. Like you actually get a spot, and then
Yes.
you know, like, and then you run it, and it's such. I feel I don't know if there are a lot of other events that you can do as a runner,
Yeah,
regardless of level, where you actually feel like you feel like a proper athlete, kind of
yeah,
just heading
yeah.
into to
Like, I earned this
Boston.
spot. I
Yeah.
had to work to be here. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Boston has that. It's pretty cool.
And now we've established like where you are, your level. I want to go back to, was it 2008? You said you did your first marathon. Was that San
Yeah.
Francisco?
It was Nike
Yeah.
Women's Marathon in San Francisco.
And that was a 3:27, was it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
3:27. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no GPS watch. I'm sure, like, my shoes were, like, 2 bricks. I know they were. I think I took, like, maybe 2 gels, probably just 1, and, like, a little bit of chocolate on the course or something. I literally had no idea what I was doing. Massive positive split, like
But it's still a good time. I mean, like first
yeah.
marathon, not like you said, you didn't have that background in running like a lot of people
Mm.
might have. And what for you back then? You said you didn't. You yeah, you just told us like how you executed that race, but uh w- after that, and you said that you were thinking that I'm gonna do this one time, just gonna run a marathon.
Yeah.
uh, were you hooked immediately after, or what went through your head after finishing that race?
Yeah, I think I, like, definitely thought I was just gonna do 1 when I lined up, and then I realized at some point that I'd qualified for Boston. Like, I didn't really know anything about the running scene at that point, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I should do Boston," but then I was also like, it was a really hilly course. And so I think the main thing in my mind when I finished that race was like, "Oh, I wanna know, like, what my time would be on a flat course." Like, I didn't understand the whole, like, concept of, like, building your aerobic engine and needing to train for years to, like, reach your potential. I just thought, like, "Oh, this is my time on a hilly course." I just wanted to know, like, I could probably run faster on the flat course, and then that'll be my time. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were kind of motivated by the fact that you did a decent race, but you probably could run faster if you
Yeah.
were on a faster course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so what happened next? Like, were you kind of immediately hooked and wanted to keep doing this, or
Yeah.
yeah?
So then, yeah, I decided to run, um, Victoria Marathon, and it was a year later? Was it or 2 years later? I can't even remember. I gave it some time, like, I wasn't like I didn't sign up for, like, another race, like, 3 months later or anything like that. It was, like, over a year. Um, and so, yeah, my sister was living in Victoria, and they have a good marathon there, and it's at sea level. It's still, like now looking back, I'm like, yeah, it's still, like, undulating. It's not super flat, but I was like, "Okay, I'll run this one." So I ran that, and I still remember, like, running that race, like, chatting with guys next to me, they were like, "Oh, what are you going for?" And I was like, "I don't know." 3:20, 3 and they're like, "You're going, like, fat." I don't know, it's just funny looking back now because I just was so clueless. I ended up running 3:15,
Mhm.
and then I was like, "Oh, okay, I should just run Boston."
But you must have seen at that time, because I'm like, now that we're talking about it and you talk about it, it sounds like when you talk about it, it's, oh yeah, I ran at 315 or a 327. Like you throw it out there and it seems like pretty normal to you, obviously, because that's your story. But to a
Yeah.
lot of people, it's like, what? She ran a 327 her first marathon. Like that is fast, and then 315 in the next one. A lot of people are chasing that BQ for years and years, right? And so
Yeah.
did you get any comments or anything yourself where you were like, oh wow, I actually do have potential here and a talent for this running thing?
Yeah, I mean, people would say like, I knew it was a decent time, but, like, I still and I think this has been, like, a common theme to my running, I still kind of always thought, like, I minimize, I think, what that could have said I was capable of, or I just didn't get it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and so I kind of knew, like, I knew I was fast-ish.
Yeah.
And, and I like that I'm competitive and I've always been but yeah, I don't know. I think, like, looking back now, like, if, like, I'm coaching now too, like, if I had a runner that, had that, I think I'd be able to, like, see that there is potential there, but I didn't really get it.
No. And your Instagram handle, that is mommy to sub 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we were to look at your PRs today, I would say that that handle must have been made a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
keep thinking about the possibility of changing it, but I also, like, it kind of speaks to where I came from too, so I don't know, I go back and forth as to whether I need to change it.
a
Yeah, so
funny thing, actually, this is funny because you don't really read the handles as much, right? You notice that it's
yeah.
there, but you see the name, and that's okay. That's it. And so until today, I thought it said "mommy to 3." So I thought you had
I had 3 kids.
three kids. I've only seen two of them, but I was like,
That's
I thought you
hilarious.
had
I
three
just keep
kids.
one in the closet.
Yeah, so that
It's
that that
awesome.
was that was my thought. I
Uh,
was like, oh, mommy to sub 3, but that doesn't really make sense. She's much faster than that.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
so that's a little fun fact
Yeah,
there.
I made that Instagram handle, like, after I'd had my son. So I broke 3 after having my son and before having my daughter, and that's when I
Mhm.
started my Instagram account. It was, like,
Yeah.
right after that. So, yeah, we've come a ways.
Yeah, well, you if you were to, because you've done a lot of marathons, 2008 kind of feels like, it should be just a few years ago, but it's almost 20 years ago.
I know.
And so if you were to kind of quickly take us through your highlights, or the moments where that you look back at to be like, yeah, that was like a memorable moment or a highlight of your running career, what would you kind of say, if you were to look at that?
The big ones. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I self-trained myself to 3:04 for Chicago in 2000 and gosh, I need to have my dates out. 2014, I think? Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I think the big thing was hiring a coach, right after that race. He took me from a 3:04 in the fall to breaking 3 for the first time in Boston. So that like, breaking 3 for the first time in Boston was amazing. It was, like, a
Yeah.
horrible weather day. It was, like, pouring rain with headwinds and everything, and I looked like a drowned rat in all of my photos, and it's, like I'm not wearing the outfit I was supposed to wear because it was so cold, but everything about that day was magical. So
Yeah.
that was huge, and then, yeah, and then after that, I kind of had a bit of a lull because I really wanted to weigh 255 right after breaking 3, and then, um, I had my daughter, and, I just had a few years where I I think I tried 4 times to break 255.
Mhm.
It was just, like, a tough barrier for me, and I think it was just life circumstances. Looking back, it's funny, like, when I struggled 4 times to break 255, like, nobody would have thought that I would have ended up with, like, at 241, like, but I think you have to remember sometimes, like, yeah, there's different circumstances in life that might be keeping you from reaching your potential, but it doesn't mean, like, you're not gonna have that big breakthrough. Um, breaking 2:55 was big. I did that at CIM. Um, yeah, and then, gosh, then after 2:55, like, um, I wanted to break 250. Like, you just kinda, like, you work your way
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
and I ended up doing that in Chicago. I ran a 2:48 in Chicago, um, in 2019, which was, like, a massive, massive moment for me, and I kind of felt like breaking 250 kind of, like, in my mind, it felt like it took me like, I was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm on a different level kind of
Yeah.
now," and I started to put a lot of pressure on myself, and then COVID hit, and I blew my knee,
Mm.
um, in spring of 2020, so I was on this, like, tear. I broke 250 in the marathon, and then I broke, 80 minutes in the half, all kind of in within a short time frame, and then COVID hit, and I blew my knee, and that just led to, like, that was the big low. That was
Did
led
you
to
have to have a
40.
surgery for that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I had 4 years of not
Mm.
running a marathon in
Yeah.
there,
Wow.
because I
How
tore
was
my
that
ACL.
mentally for you, like coming from that sub 250 and like you said, more pressure on yourself and probably running being such a big part
Yeah.
of your life, and then having to do 4 years with that. 4 years is a long time.
Yeah, it was, like that's for sure, like, the low. I mean, I managed it, but it was hard, like, the coming back, um, was a huge roller coaster, and, I was told by my surgeon I should forget about marathoning,
Yeah.
and so I kind of I knew running was gonna have a part of my life, but I questioned whether I'd be able to do the long stuff anymore. I questioned whether I'd be
Mhm.
able to compete. I questioned a lot, and, yeah, so that was for sure the low of my, all of my marathoning years, but I
Yeah.
clawed my way back slowly, slowly. Um, yeah, and then my first marathon back, I ran a 2:46, and it
It's
just
crazy.
turned
That must have
just
been
turned
quite the
40.
feeling though, just in the first place lining up for the first
Yeah, and
time
I
in so
think
long and then performing
that
that
was the
well.
blessing. That was the blessing from, that whole break is I do it like, it completely changed my outlook on running, and I think I needed it. I think I was very, like, "Oh," I was just blinders down, like, trying to run all the miles, trying to, like, get all the times, and then when I had to take the time off, I that first marathon build back for Chicago, 2023, I was just so happy to be marathon training again. Like,
Yeah.
it was I if you like, I love my Calgary, we have, like, the best summers for marathon training. I get to run in the mountains. I got, like, um, time off of work because 'cause I'm a teacher, and so my summer marathon training is, like, I love it, and that first build back after 4 years of not marathoning was, like, my heart just, like, exploded. I was so and I could have run anything at that race, and I would have been pumped, but to,
Yeah.
just turn 40 and pull off a PR was, like felt really good.
Mhm. And then in was it now last year in Chicago that you ran the 241?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so the 2:46 was the last race I did with my former coach,
Mhm.
and then the following spring, I started working with Jeff, and
Mm.
he took me
Jeff
from
Cunningham for the
2:46.
listeners who are
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he got me from 2:46 to 2:44, and then 2:43 at McCurdy last spring, and then 2:41 in Chicago, so we're just,
Mhm.
like, slowly chipping away here,
Yeah.
seeing what these old legs can do still.
Mhm. Yeah. But like when crossing the finish line, seeing that you are now a 241 marathoner, what does that do? You were talking about the pressure that you felt after your 248. Was it 248
Mhm.
marathon?
Yeah.
And then now seeing like because it's kind of easy to guess what the next goal for you you
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts after that race, and how realistic did you then feel like a sub 240 marathon was?
Yeah, I mean, it's still crazy for me to sit here and think that, like, I'm a 2:41 marathoner just 'cause, like, I don't know, like, there's so many reasons I could say, like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, it just feels surreal. And so, yeah, it definitely felt surreal. I mean, going into Chicago, I'd had a really good build over the summer, and toward the end of that build, we sort of started to think, like, maybe sub 240 was a possibility. Like, I hit a few really good workouts, and, but the consensus was, like, we're not going out at that pace. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, it's still crazy to me that that is something I could flirt with.
Mhm.
So in that race, I went out probably a little bit hot. Um, I ran the first half in like 1:20:09 or something like that, like 1:20 low. And I kind of knew when I crossed the half marathon mark, I was like, I'm okay, but I don't think I can replicate
No.
another
No.
1:20 or like do it faster. And so in retrospect, I think I did go out a little bit hot. I think if I, maybe come in at 1:21 low, I probably could have run a negative split and maybe finished in the 240s. But I'm really happy I actually ran that way because I feel like crossing that half at 1:20, like, I feel like if I had been ready to run 1:39 on that day, I'd put myself in a position where I could have done it, like, it was realistic, but I didn't, and so I was
Mhm.
like, "Okay, it wasn't my day for
No.
that."
No.
Um, and so I actually am kinda happy with how I
Mhm.
raced that, even though it was a slight positive split. I struggled a little bit at the end. It got a little hot too at the end and
Yeah.
whatever, but yeah.
Yeah. It's such a cool journey though, like seeing that, and I think that it's an inspiration to everyone also to see that. First of all, the consistency that you've had, and even with 4 years off because of that injury and all of that, and just yeah, showing that consistency and that just running a lot over time and just pushing and pushing. And like you said, you were struggling for a long time to break 255, and then all of a sudden you are here now, 241 marathoner. It's kind of crazy how you might encounter those challenges that you feel like, oh, this seems impossible right now, and some people might even
Yeah.
give up, and then it's like, oh, but there was actually, the ceiling wasn't there at all.
Totally. I think it's so easy to think, like, and so many times I've thought, like, "Oh, I'm reaching my potential. I'm close to my potential. Oh, like, I can't, like, I'm not gonna get that much like, so many times over
Hmm.
this journey, I've thought
Yeah.
that, and like, 1,000% when I was struggling to break 255, like, I remember saying to people, like, "Oh, I'm not, like, really a sub 250 runner. Like,
Hmm.
I'm just fighting to get under 255, and that's, like, where I'll be."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I don't know, nuts the limitations I think we can put on ourselves, like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And I also think we're soon, very soon, I'm gonna dive more into like your Boston build and Boston, because obviously I think that a lot of the listeners now are curious about Boston for themselves, but also for
Mhm.
someone at your level. But before we do, the last thing I wanted to touch on, which is like makes me respect you a lot, is that when I see you on social media, you are uh, spending so much time with your kids. You seem like you are the mom who shows up and you are with them, doing things with them. Something that is, I would say, very cool, knowing how much you're running, how big goals you have as a runner. And so I guess the question is like, I understand that that's a priority, but how are you able to prioritize both of them, or like both things, being a mom and a
Yeah,
runner?
absolutely, it's a priority. Yeah, I mean, it isn't easy to prioritize both, but, like, it's possible if you want it enough, and so, yeah, I mean, a lot of the running that I do is early in the morning, and yeah, and that's so that, I'm freed up to take them both to hockey in the afternoons. Yeah, I mean, there's times for sure where, I struggle to find the balance where I feel like I am maybe running too much and there is some of that mom guilt, and, I'm, like, screaming orders from my treadmill at them or, like, telling that, like, there's times where I'm, like, out for my run in the morning and they're, like, at home making their own breakfast, like, there's things, um that they've, do, I guess, to accommodate my running as well a little bit. But, um, yeah, like, for sure, I'm they are my priority, and I
Yeah.
will drop anything for them, and, yeah, they'll always come first. So there's a way you can do it. You just have to
Mhm.
I think you have to want it enough.
What do they think? Because I would imagine that, some people have parents who are athletes and then the like sport is their job. And then I think that to a
Yeah.
lot of kids it's like, oh yeah, but my mom is a runner or my dad is a speed skater, hockey player, whatever it is. But for you it's like you are a teacher but you're also a runner who's now like almost a professional runner in terms of the level you're at. So like where how do they react to this and how engaged are they in your journey and your goals?
Yeah, they're like eh I wouldn't say that they're, like, super engaged. Um, like, yeah, it'll come up sometimes, like, I'll be out heading I'll be like, "I'm going out for a run," and Jonah will be like, "I know, you're always right." Like, "I
Yeah.
know where you're going, you don't have to tell me." Um, yeah, like, I always joke my daughter spends so much time just, like, jumping around on the couch while I'm, like, dying on the treadmill behind her.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think it's just, like it's just a normal I don't know, for them, like, this is, like, a I don't know, I'm just their mom. Like, it's
Mhm.
nothing. Yeah, I think they've kind of taken notice to the fact that I'm running Boston the Pro Field.
Yeah,
I've talked to them a lot about it, I think just because 'cause I'm so proud of it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're just like, it's my mom." So
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, that's what they know, I guess. You've been running their
Yeah.
whole lives, so it makes sense. No, but
Yeah.
it's cool, and I think it's, also great that you're showing that on social media because I think it's so easy to not that there's anything wrong in not sharing anything with your kids and stuff, but more like just showing that it's possible to combine it the way that you do. I think is really cool, and it kind of sets an example for others as well. So cool.
Thanks. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think overall we underestimate what we can do if we
Yeah,
want it bad enough.
yeah,
I think, like, if you really want it, you're gonna find that way, and yeah, I think that what's cool now is we have so many parents who are, like, showing us that. I don't know that that was really like, when my kids were little, there wasn't as much of that out there, like, I really
no,
questioned whether I could
hmm
balance it all, and now it's like, okay, there are
yeah,
not to play the comparison game, obviously, but
no, no,
it's neat to see that, yeah,
yeah,
it can be done.
yeah. And I mentioned like professional or runner, and it's pretty cool. Like are you a Morton sponsored athlete? Like, how does that work? Fueled by Morton,
I'm,
but yeah,
uh I'm just an ambassador. So, like, they
ambassador, yeah.
just yeah, they had, like, their ambassador application open in December, and I applied
Hmm.
and got
That's
a
cool.
spot, so that's pretty pumped about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really nice.
yeah, it's really cool. And you're a part of Project 3 for Boston, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I get the
How
I
has that
just got
been?
my Puma kit this week.
Yeah. Oh wow. That
Yeah, it's
must be.
been great. It's, like, neat. They've got, like they have us they, like, offer all these, like, nutrition webinars and
Hmm.
nutrition and sports psychology, and, they're all, like, well and working, so I have to try to kind of tune into them on the
Yeah.
recordings afterwards, but it's yeah, they offer great support, and it's been just fun. It'll be hopefully neat to meet up with a few
Yeah.
of the other runners in Boston, and yeah.
It's really cool what they've been doing over the like looking back at the last 2 years. I feel like,
Mhm.
especially like in 2025, I would say that they definitely won everything in terms of marketing from my perspective. Like with the
Yeah.
the high campaign and all of that was just so cool.
Yeah, it's really neat that they offer that experience, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like
Hmm.
it's, like, like, great marketing for them and
Hmm.
just a really fun opportunity for, those of us who are, like, not really fast enough to be anything, but we get to kinda feel like we're something
Yeah,
on that
yeah.
day.
And you mentioned like working with Jeff, and obviously he's had a lot of Boston runners over the years, and you've been doing Boston twice already. Heading into this build for you, how how would you say that you are preparing for Boston compared to say Chicago, like two very different courses, to very different races? What are the changes that you're making in your training leading
Mm.
up to Boston?
So this is where I think I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. I feel like I could have done more. When I talked to Jeff about it, his mentality is he very much feels like fit is fit. So he's not a coach who has had us doing like a whole bunch of like really hilly running. Um, and to be honest, I've been like really confined to my treadmill. Um, this is the first marathon build I'm going to be lining up, and I have not done one outdoor workout.
Oh wow.
I've done some outdoor easy runs,
Hmm.
but I have not run anything fast. Actually, I think I'm gonna get to today. I got like 10 times 2 minutes. I'm gonna get to run outside today for the first time.
Oh wow.
So I feel like I'm lining up with a lot of unknowns. Like I'm a little bit worried. And yeah, so I definitely the way that he trains us is like for the like 7, 8 weeks leading up to the marathon, we have work in our long run every second week.
Hmm.
And so, those workouts had to be on the treadmill because anything fast I just couldn't do outside in ice and cold. But then, uh, the alternate week where I had just like 18, 19 easy miles, those weeks I tried to get out and incorporate hills
Yeah.
into my running. And so, um, yeah, honestly, like and then my strength training, I tried to kinda tailor my strength training to the hills, trying to get, like, more quad focus, more eccentric, more but, so those are kind of the little tweaks I did, but I honestly feel like I could have done more, and it kind of hurts me that I couldn't train for Boston through the summer because that's when I can get to the mountains and,
Yeah.
run up a lot of hills and do more of that training, but, I'm kinda it is what it is, we'll see what happens.
But kind of like if we look at what Jeff said about that, because I think that's interesting, and I agree with him. I think that in some ways, especially if you are like you said, fit is fit. In some ways,
Mhm,
I would say that unless you haven't been able to touch anything hills in training, it doesn't mean
mhm.
need to be hard on in workouts. Even like what I realized after last year's Boston is that uh, I consider Boston much more flat than a lot of people do because I'm from
Right.
Norway where we have hills everywhere. So there's like
Totally.
I'm heading out my door and I'm running for like 2 minutes and there's a
Yeah.
hill and then another 2 minutes and there's a longer hill. Like
Mhm.
so I realized that I don't really need to incorporate hill training in the same way that a lot of people do. I talked to a lot of people from Florida, for instance, where they're like, "Yeah, we don't really
Totally.
have hills, so
Yeah.
it's a problem." And they would say that no, it's not flat between the like getting down the first downhill section in Boston and the
Yeah,
hills. I was like, that's flat to
yeah,
me.
that's flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But based on your experience yourself of running Boston previously, and obviously you're at a very different level now than you were last time you were in Boston, but uh, what would you say that is the most important kind of in terms of that fitness? What is it that people now obviously it's too late to change anything in their training, but
Yeah.
coming into Boston, what is the most important thing for you to kind of feel confident with, if that makes sense? So is it just general fitness or is it that strength training? What would you say?
I say general fitness just because, like, at the end of the day, it's a marathon. But I think in Boston, pacing is a big one too.
Yeah.
Um, like, it's really easy to go out way too fast and just hammer your legs in that first, 10K.
Hmm.
So, I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, having some downhill running, I think is everyone talks about the hills, but I think also having some downhill,
Yeah.
is ideal. And did I do a ton of that? No. Did it come to bite me in the butt? Yes.
But that
But
was that was actually gonna be my next question in terms of that pacing strategy, because I think it's like you said, it's really important to do it for the physical aspect of it. But I think that, and this could be that people really disagree with me on this, but I would say that almost the most important reason to train on the downhill is that it's so easy to go too fast because you can't look
Mhm.
at your heart rate, you can't look or
Yeah.
think about how it feels. It's just
Yeah.
like you you should look at your pace and be like, okay, this is my targeted pace. And
Mhm.
I run that. Like for me, I think I might even go a bit slower than my targeted pace just to
Totally. Yeah.
make sure that I don't mess it up. Because last year I felt like I was holding back, like I think everyone does. And then you get
Yeah.
get down the
Yeah.
hills and you're like, that wasn't as easy as I thought it was. And like my heart
Yeah.
rate is low, but my legs are not happy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I don't know how this is gonna go. I ran so well when I broke 3. I paced it, like, so well, but I'm a totally different runner, and I haven't run anything but a flat marathon course in so many years now. Like, gosh, 2018 or something was the
Hmm.
last time I ran a course. I think, like, CIM 2017, I don't know, 2018 was the last time I ran
Yeah.
something that wasn't, like, Chicago or McCurdy.
But
Uh,
but yeah, but I still I love that we're having this discussion around fitness is fitness because I
Mhm.
completely agree with that, and especially for you being at the level you are at. I'm not sure if it really matters. Like it's like you said, you have to go into this with a mindset that is a bit different than in Chicago because the pacing strategy will be different. Like you have the hills, all of that. But I'm also curious on your take on this. You said you're a very different runner. And obviously in the pro field, if you are there to race the other girls, then yes, you might have to just go with whatever they are doing, right? Like
Yeah.
that
I'm
that
gonna
is
be dropped in, like, 800 meters.
Yes, but I guess like yeah. So two questions. First, before I ask the one I was supposed to, like, what is your strategy on that? Are you gonna run your own race and try to just run fast, or are you there to kind of find a pack and compete with a group of women?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna run my own race. I'm hoping there'll be a few of us that can pack up. There's actually another woman from Calgary in the pro field, which is
Oh,
crazy.
cool.
And I know we have similar goal times. She's a little faster than me generally. But yeah, in a perfect world, it would be really nice to have a few of us. I have a feeling it's probably gonna be kinda lonely. Like,
Mm,
I think there's maybe, like, 50 of us in the pro field. We start before like, after the pro men and
yeah,
before the general field, so
yeah,
um, yeah, I think I'm gonna just have to have totally my own plan and try to stick to it, and then just, like, fingers crossed, I can, um find like 1 or 2 other women to hang out with. At some point, the like 220 guys, I think, are gonna pass us,
yeah, yeah.
from the general field. So,
Because I guess that will
yeah.
be a kind of a new experience as well in terms of for me now that I'm running, there will be backs to run behind all the way.
Mhm.
Like if I'm running slower, I'll find a new back. If I'm running faster, then I'll find another back.
Yeah.
Like there will always be a back to chase there. And I assume that like when you did your 241 marathon, you were running in the general field and you
Mhm.
have so many people around you all the time.
Totally.
And so regardless of you being alone or you being in a smaller pack, it will be less people around you. But then you also have the advantage of the fueling stations, I guess. Like you'll have bottles, so you have the
Yeah.
pros and the cons on that. Uh,
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
but do you think that for you that it is an advantage to be in the pro field like that? Obviously, it's a great experience. It's gonna be fun no matter what. But some like if you were to look at it from a like time perspective, do you think that it would
Yeah.
be more beneficial to be in the general field than in the pro field?
Yeah, possibly. I definitely run better when I have people to run with. Um, but yeah, having bottles on course is a huge advantage too.
Yeah.
So, I
I
don't
think I
know,
would pick that
maybe.
to be honest, because it's just such an
Mhm.
advantage. Yeah,
It's really nice. It's really nice, yeah.
yeah,
That's one of the downfalls in Chicago is
yeah.
having to, like, literally stop every mile to
Hmm.
take in a cup that you're hoping you get in your mouth.
Yeah, yep,
But, like, grabbing your bottle and knowing you're actually gonna, yeah, be able to
yeah.
feel
That's
properly is
pretty.
huge.
Yeah, and then comes my next question, kind of back to what you were saying about being a different runner from what you were back when you were running Boston last time. Do you think that when you are running for a time, like we just talked about, that the pacing strategy changes with the level you're at, so that you running a sub 3 marathon compared to running a 240 marathon, will the pacing strategy be different, you think? Or is it the same, just that you're doing everything a little bit faster?
Um, yeah, I would say that's the same. I don't think
Mm,
I like pacing wise anything will change. I still haven't sat down with my coach to like really um go over, what our exact plan is with
mhm,
the course. Again, like this is the first yeah, like not flat race I've done with him. So the rest of the
yeah,
races we've just kind of known like this is marathon pace, go out and execute, just be, hold back a little bit at first sort of thing.
mhm,
But this one, yeah, feel like we'll probably sit down in the pre-race chat and have like it'll be a little bit more nuanced.
yeah.
Um, the biggest thing is like, you know, don't go out with the pros. don't
Mhm,
don't
mhm.
don't try to hold on to those women for any length of time.
No.
Let them go.
But for the runners listening to this, I'm guessing that a lot of people listening to this, if they're listening before the race, they are, curious themselves about how do I pace myself? Like, what is
Mhm.
Boston actually like? I've heard about these
Yeah.
downhill sections in the beginning, and then the hills and Heartbreak Hill. If you were to
Mhm.
kind of go through this and give some advice to runners who are not necessarily running as fast as you are, but maybe they're trying to break sub 3 like you did, or maybe they're running 4 hours or 5 hours, what would your
Yeah.
advice be?
So, yeah, I think, it's definitely a race where you have to think more about your strategy than any other. Those yeah, the biggest thing is I think most people go out too fast, with the downhill at the start. So, just, like, knowing what your goal pace is and not letting it get out of hand in the first 10K. So, I mean, if I am coaching someone in Boston this year and, like, yeah, the advice will be, no more than, like, maybe 5 seconds a mile faster than goal pace or, like, right around goal pace. Like, do not go any faster than that in those first 10K. Um Hopefully you've practiced some downhill running and you're thinking about like not overstriding when you're
Mhm.
running downhill, hammering your legs more than they need to. Yeah, and then those hills that are coming, just maintaining and like a consistent effort, I would say, through the hills, not looking at your watch when you're going up a hill. Like you don't need to know how fast you're going. You just need to maintain that even effort um, and
What do
really,
you
like,
think that
hone into
that
how your
effort
body's feeling.
what do you think the effort should feel like, if you were to kind of describe that feeling? Because I feel like I was thinking about it on my run today, that regardless of
Mhm.
my pace being a bit slower, going uphill will be a little bit harder than running on the flat. Like there's no arguing that, right?
Yeah. I think you just need to be cognizant that you're not, like, pushing it and, like, going, like, anaerob like, you don't wanna be, like, struggling to breathe, like, just, you know, pushing it too hard. I think you just have to kinda hone in. Like, you're obviously gonna be working harder, but there's a big difference between, like, working harder going up a hill and pushing yourself going up a
Hmm.
hill,
Hmm.
and just making sure that you're working hard without, like, yeah, that next level, I guess.
Yeah. And then what maybe
Yeah.
separates Boston as well is like you get up those hills, and obviously depending on how much that did cost you, or how much the race has cost you so far, we still have like a decent amount of running left when we get to the top.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
I guess it's around 10K left. What would your advice be when you get down to like to Brookline? And for people listening, it's to kind of like you get to the top and then you run a little bit downhill. You It is possible to recover a little bit. And then you get to Brookline and then you see the Sitco sign and you feel like, oh, I'm getting closer to Boston, but you still have a way to go. What would your
Totally.
advice be when you get to the top of Heartbreak Hill, and for that rest of the race?
Like, for me, when I get to those spots where things are getting hard, it's late in the race, like, it's important to kind of, to think about this before and picture how you can respond. Like, know you're gonna be hurting, anticipate the hurt, anticipate the heavy legs. Like, have a mantra or have, like, something that you can lean into because it's hard and you kind of need to know, like, in order to push yourself to the next level, you almost need to, like, know your why in that moment. Like,
Yeah.
why, and have something to, like, focus in on. So I'll usually pick, like, one word that, or, like, 2 1 or maximum 3 words that just, like, I know are gonna, like, fire me up,
Mm.
and maybe, like, Sharpie them on my hand and kind of have them there, like, ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you don't know, like, anything can happen at that point. It's
Yeah.
Boston is a hard course. I think, like, showing up knowing and being ready to work hard is a big part of it too. Just,
Yeah.
like, prepping yourself for that
It's
mentally.
gonna hurt. For sure. Are there any technical things, like in terms of your form, that you're focusing more on at the end, or like that you feel like you have to focus more on at the end of the race, or things that help you to kind of just focus on that instead of letting the pain get too much attention?
Um, gosh. That's, like, when I wish I had my coach there to, like, yell, like, "Head up," like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't yeah, yeah, I don't know that, like, that's something I've, like, really done in the past, but, yeah, definitely, like, it's a struggle for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. And you mentioned that through Project 3, and I'm sure also by being a Morton ambassador, you might get some more th- insight into fueling, I guess, like, or more information about fueling, and you're more educated than a
Mhm,
lot of runners. For you and for the listeners, going into Boston, Morton is what we're being handed on course in terms of gels. Uh, what is
mhm.
it that you've learned or things that you are focusing on in terms of your fueling? Do you have any strategies or advice on that for the listeners?
Yeah, I'm honing in on it more for sure this marathon, like, I actually just sat down yesterday and, like, added up my carbs and my plan for my bottles, and I've always kind of, like, loosely done that in the past, but, like, not really, like, sat down and done all my calculations. So, yeah, I'm aiming for, like, 70 to 90 carbs an hour, grams of carbs an hour. So, um, yeah,
Is
what
that
that looks
through
like for
through
me is
through liquid only for you since you have bottles, or will you also
n
have gels?
no, I actually really like the gels, so it's mostly gonna be gels.
Mm.
Um So I have 6 bottles, I think, on course. I'm still finalizing that. Um, and so 2 of those bottles are gonna have Morton drink in them, the 160, and then the rest are gonna have electrolytes, and all of them are gonna have a Morton gel on the
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Um so, yeah, if that and then I'll have a gel on the start line as well. So, that'll be end up being 7 gels and 2 drinks, which should be well within my 90
Yeah.
grams of carbs an hour. And then it kind of gives me leeway to, like, I could not take a gel if I need to, like, and I
Mhm.
would still be, good in there. Um, yeah, so, it's really it's really nice to have access to that product and just be able to, like, know what I'm taking on course.
Yeah.
I think if I didn't have bottles, I would probably, I would honestly probably have, like, a little handheld with Morton drink in it, for the
Mhm.
first 5K or so,
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what
just
I'm
to
actually
top up.
considering doing at this time, of just starting it a bit slow so
Yeah,
I don't have to take a gel immediately, but just have the
yeah,
bottle instead.
yeah, then you
And
don't have to take that first gel and you've got your
yeah.
bottle. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's smart.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I like gels, so it works well for me,
Yeah.
to have
Wh
them on my bottles. I just, like, throw an elastic around it on the bottle.
which one is it that you're taking of the gels? Is it the 100? Is it,
Um,
no, what's it called? What are they have 2
the
different
smaller
ones,
ones.
right?
The
Yeah, the
one
smaller ones.
Yeah, yeah, and I actually would be doing I think it's the 160s that are the bigger, so I should know this,
Yeah.
but I don't. right
Yeah,
off the
no,
bat.
but that's the same. I feel like I
But I
should know
don't
this as
have
well,
any of
but
the bigger gels right now.
no.
So that's, like, actually a really good option because the 160s have 40 or 41 grams of carbs in
Yeah.
them. And that's, like, such a great way to just, like, slightly increase that carb intake
Mhm.
while you just still have 1 gel.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like those gels. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like, if I can get my hands I don't have any of them right now. If I can get my hands on some of the bigger ones, I'll definitely be swapping out 1 or 2 of them,
Mhm.
um, with the bigger ones. I
Yeah.
really like them.
And in terms of like handling all of this, and I think that this again goes to we're now like a week, 10 days, like when this episode airs, we're 1 week out from Boston. So there's a limit to how much you can practice your fueling that last week. But I was thinking about it on my run today because, uh, when you're running, especially when you have a little bit of a higher intensity, your stomach might be like, "Oh, I'm not liking you so much right now." And especially after
Mhm.
having had 3 gels, you're like, "Oh, not super happy with you." Uh, but then I also realized that it actually got better as I had another gel because and it kind of it's contradicting, right? Because you feel like, oh, my stomach is unhappy, I shouldn't have more, but then you have more, and that might
Mhm.
actually settle things a little bit. Uh,
That's what I need.
yeah, why do you think that, or why is that? I guess you know better than me, but like, do you know why that is that we can get less stomach problems by actually fueling more with gels?
Oh gosh. I don't know, like, it's, like, fueling in a run is so I think it's so individual how everybody reacts in
Hmm.
that situation, and so, yeah, I don't know, like, if it's I think, like, when you're running, right, like, your stomach is, like it's different than even fueling when you're cycling, when you're not, like you don't
Yeah.
have that, like, bouncing motion. Um, yeah, and then there's nerves and everything that come into
Hmm.
play, like, I don't know, I just, like yeah, I think all you can do is just, like, practice your fueling, especially on your harder, longer runs and,
Yeah.
like, get know, like, how your body reacts when you're working harder and hope for the best, like,
Hmm.
really, and try
But
like, stick to it on race day. Yeah.
But do you stop fueling at any point? Because I know that some runners are like, okay, when I get to 32K, although it's like maybe
Yeah.
they still have 30 to 40 minutes left, and the fueling strategy has been like every 20 minutes, they
Mhm.
might be like, okay, when I have 32, when I'm passing 32, I'm just gonna run and not fuel.
Mhm.
Some people like that in terms of their stomach. What is your strategy on that?
So, I have done that in the past, and I feel like in the past, I didn't think it hurt me, but now I've reconsidered that strategy because I've really noticed, like, in my harder long runs when I've fueled right until, like, taking a gel in the last K, how much better I felt.
Yeah.
Not just during the last 5K, but also, like, afterwards.
Hmm.
And so this is actually, like and I think having, like, all this access to Morton products has really opened this up for me. 'Cause I was trying to, like, almost skimp on fueling before 'cause, it's expensive, like, a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
run can
Yeah.
be expensive. When you start adding up, like, bicarb and gels and, like, you're like, "This is supposed to be a cheap sport, and I'm
Hmm.
$50 into this long run right now."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, having access to all of the Morton product and, like, really being able to use it freely has, like, honestly helped my training.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my, like, 2 big long runs this build, I took those gels right up to the, like, 5K to go, and
Hmm.
both times I finished, and I was like, "I feel so much better after this run." Like, not and even, like, the rest of the day, like, not having the same, like, famished feeling of, like,
Yeah.
just being, like, exhausted and hungry. So for me, that's gonna be definitely something I carry into this race is, like,
Mhm.
not skipping that
Yeah.
last gel. Yeah, like, kilometer 35, still having that gel.
No, I totally agree with you. I think that actually today's long run for me changed that because I think I had the last gel when I had 2 or 3K left, right? And because I was just told by my nutritionist every 20 minutes, like I want you to do every 20 minutes, doesn't matter how long the
Good for
run
you.
is, and I finished and I was like, I could keep running, which is obviously a good feeling. And
Mhm.
then after, I'm like, I don't feel like I've been out for a 30K or 32K long run. It's been,
Yeah.
like it feels like I got in from a 10K long run. And that's kind of,
Yeah.
it's definitely because of fueling.
It's
It's
crazy.
nothing else.
Like, the number of years that, the number of years that I trained and didn't feel well, like, the only thing I knew was that, like, exhaustion and
Yeah.
depletion after a long run, and it's nuts that, like, I'm yeah, I'm literally, like, 17 years into this and, like, still getting better at it.
Yeah, it's but that's also what's fascinating, cool about the sport. I think that we can still learn no matter how long we've been running or how long we've been athletes. It's just like, okay, I'm still
Yeah.
learning something new.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm having this podcast, so I'm learning
totally.
something new all the time by having people like yourself on. So it's cool. Yeah. I just have two more questions before we wrap this all up, and one is just your advice to people who are heading to Boston, and the Boston experience is so cool. The whole weekend, everything. There will be so many things happening. We're doing a shakeout run. A
Mhm.
lot of people, like brands, are doing shakeout runs. It's the expo. There are brands, and you obviously want to experience that. But you also want to make sure that you are ready come race day.
Mhm.
How do we balance
Yeah.
this?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one, because you do, like, for Boston especially, it's a race that so many people have just worked so hard for, and they wanna take it all in, and I get that. I'm not gonna tell you not to do any of it. Um, I think, like, just, like, taking a little bit of time now and, like, maybe planning, like, what you're gonna do, especially the day before. Like, the day before is especially important in terms of, like, making sure you're, carb loading and staying off your feet and stuff, and it doesn't mean don't do anything, but, like, maybe go to the race expo on Saturday instead of Sunday, um, and just think about, like, I've we've all fallen into the trap of, like, "Oh, I'm in a new city," like, walking around
Hmm.
too much, so I think especially just, like, planning your Sunday and thinking, like, "Okay, like, shakeout run at this time, but then, what can I do the rest of the day to stay off of my feet?" And,
Yeah.
maybe picking, 1 or 2 other things, but or the main thing, yeah,
Hmm.
just putting those feet up.
That's a good advice. And then
If running fast is your goal, if you just wanna take in Boston and
yeah.
have fun, like, give her. Go for it.
Yeah, because that's also something that I thought a lot about. That it really depends on your ambitions, right? Like for me, when I'm lining up on the
Totally.
start, I really want to run fast. I want to prioritize that, but there's also a part of me is like, because next year I'm gonna run it with my dad, and then I'm just gonna do
Oh,
everything and have a lot of fun on marathon weekend and
yeah,
just do everything. I might even do several shakeout runs, just for the fun of it. But this year, when I still want to run fast, then that's not really an option. Like you said, I want to enjoy marathon weekend, but I also want to make sure I don't do too much. And especially now having this
yeah.
podcast, knowing more people, I really need to restrict myself to be like, I'm not going to
It's
join
hard. I know
several
it's the
shake-up
same.
runs. I'll grab a coffee
Yeah.
with you, but like I can't go to 3 shakeout runs on Saturday or
Yeah.
Sunday,
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, last question, Polly. What is your goal? Do you have like a specific goal in mind for the race, or yeah, where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote 2:39 on my mirror, which is right here that I'm looking at right now.
Awesome.
So yeah, I threw a time goal out there. We weren't sure if we were gonna do that for this build. Just because, like, honestly, getting into the pro field in Boston was like, I feel like I've already reached my goal for this race. It's a
Hmm.
really different feeling. And so we kind of just thought at the start, we were like, "Oh, well, you know what? Like, let's just train hard and enjoy this build and go out." And, it's Boston, it's a tough course. We can just have a fun day. And then in December, we were both just kind of like, screw it. Let's
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 go.
throw the big hairy goal up on the mirror and go for it.
Awesome.
Um, and so yeah, that's the goal. But you know what? Like, honestly, I'm really excited just to be out there this
Yeah.
time. I feel like I'm less like blinders on, goal, goal,
Hmm.
goal than I would be for most of the other races I've showed up for. And like a great performance would just be icing on the cake at this
Yeah.
point.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to meet you in Boston. I hope that we'll meet one of the days. And
Yeah.
yeah, good luck with your race. I'm really excited for you. The pro field. It's like you said, it is an accomplishment before you even get to Boston. You kind of it's just incredible. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. I'm excited for you too.
Thank you, and thanks for guesting the marathon podcast. And yeah, again, good luck. Thank you so much to Polly for coming on. It was 7 a.m. when she logged on. I can't believe I kind of just ruined her morning. Hopefully, that she didn't feel like I did that. Yeah, can't wait to see how well she will do in Boston. I'm pretty sure she'll do well, and can't wait to meet her there. There is a rumor that she will try to uh, join the Shakeout. I really hope she will. That would be fun. And if you haven't already, sign up for the event on Strava. And yeah, it's a great opportunity to also mention that you can get 20% off yearly subscription with Strava by using the code Kristian, code down below. Okay, so to my own running. Last long run today. And if you listened to this podcast before, you know that John and I, we are kind of risking it a little bit now. We are pushing a little bit harder, closer to the race, closer than we normally would. But yeah, I had 32K today, 4:14 average pace. Did not run fast throughout the whole run. So I had 6K off warm up, which was, I don't know, 4:30s, something like that. Mostly zone one. And then I had 14K of work, progressive running. So progression from 4:08 to 3:54. I was pretty loyal to that, was pretty good at doing that, felt fairly good. I could tell that, like, especially 3:54 pace when it's going a little bit uphill, because I was running this uh, little loop, a 5K loop ish, several times, and especially at times it was harder. I was also really nailing my nutrition, having a gel every 20 minutes, and also adding some drink mix to that. So I think I was able to, I don't know, I think it must have been like 70 to 80 grams of carbs per hour. At least I think that's what it was. I have to look at the numbers after, but really, really happy with how I executed. Cool down for 12 kilometers after. Um, Probably ended up doing a little bit faster than like a proper cool down, but I I felt like I was running like zone one, no, sorry, zone two intensity, trying to keep, like, I've been doing this for most of my long runs, a little bit harder than the easy runs. But yeah, felt really good when I was done. Had a gel. I think maybe I mentioned this in the conversation with Polly as well, that I had a gel uh, as late as like 2 kilometers before I was done. And so I really hope that will speed up my recovery and help me feel better later on. I still feel pretty good right now. Now it's a few hours since I got home from that run, and I'm yeah, feeling pretty fresh. So good answers, a good time before Boston. Kind of helps me a little bit more to know what I can run at when we get there. I'll have to talk to John about the race plan, and I'll get back to you guys on that. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess, the most important update for now. Thank you so much for listening to the Marathon Podcast. Appreciate you being here. Please join our Shakeout in Boston, and yeah, look out for new episodes throughout this week. I think we'll have some fun episodes going forward. Talk to you later. You listen to the Marathon Podcast, brought to you by Wild Studio and me.